And here is the remainder of that schedule. The Northwood game tonight. The rest of November looks like this. Transylvania on Monday, then mid-November against Lafayette, and then right around Thanksgiving, the 21st and 23rd, the opponents Moorhead State and Long Island University. So that is the upcoming schedule of games on the UK IMG network for the Wildcats in action prior to conference play. Our game is coming up next. It's the Wildcats against Northwood from Florida. Thank you so much for watching Wildcat warm-up from Rupp Arena. All the action of Wildcat basketball coming up. Enjoy the game, folks, on the UK IMG network.
The night is a little bit warmer, but it is white hot inside. A special program where they don't judge success by wins and losses, but national championship as number 3 Kentucky takes on Northwood. Hi again, everybody. Dave Baker alongside Larry Conley. Larry, this is one of those places. It's just an exhibition game, but nothing is more special than opening night at Rupp Arena.
And Dave, they're coming off of a national championship year, and this is a basketball team everybody wants to witness to see how it's all going to be put together. This will be the first matchup right here. It's an exhibition game, but it's important for these fans. They love this game here.
Absolutely. It's become an annual event under John Calipari. That's seeing everybody go to the NBA in the first round, and you reload the roster. What will the new faces look like, and how will they come together? We've got the starting lineups and the opening tip when we come right back to Rupp Arena.
Basketball on the UK IMG Network is presented by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. Big on commitment. By your local Ford dealer. Ford. Drive one. By Baptist Express Care Clinics, located in select Walmart supercenters. Find a location at baptistexpresscare.com. And by the Whitaker Bank Corporation, uniquely Kentucky.
Here's a look at the starting lineups tonight as third-ranked Kentucky takes on the NAIA Division II national runners-up from a year ago, the Northwood Seahawks. And Larry, John Calipari going to go with Goodwin, Harrow, Noel, Poitras, and Wilcher.
And of course, the one guy on there that has some experience here at Kentucky is Wilcher. But here's the guy everybody's looking at, the #1 recruit in the country, Nerlens Noel. You can see right there, quick to that ball, offensively going down, and Cauley Stein doing his number down in there. At some point during the year, I probably think early in the season, they're going to use both of these guys and play them together. What a formidable pair that will be, and how would you like to be the team having to go in there on a layup and know they're standing there waiting?
It's unbelievable, and the talent that they've got, but the matchup problems that John Calipari can create. That's what he'll be taking a look at during this exhibition season, which tips off when we come right back. The house lights are off, the spotlight is on, and it burns brightly on all the newcomers on this Kentucky basketball team. They're calling it the Drive for 9. Last year, this program got its 8th national championship. And Larry, you've been a part of it. You know that's the standard by which all teams are measured here at UK.
And they are expected again to perform very well. You mentioned it in our show that kind of kicked all this off this year, the fact that Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky. In fact, the #4 team is Ohio State. Everybody, if we played in Cincinnati, they could all bust there.
Remember, they used to have that Big Four thing, but it's certainly a big year for this area of the country in terms of basketball, and at no place is it any bigger here than in Kentucky. And it seems hard to believe, Larry, that it was a few short years ago that Mitch Barnhart, the athletics director, decided to make a change. Billy Gillespie was not renewed, and John Calipari has just come in and taken this deal to a completely different level. All right, Larry Connolly alongside, and the third member of our broadcast crew tonight, a big Rupp Arena welcome to Tom Wormy. Tom?
Thank you. Time for the UK Healthcare Injury Report. And guys, I'm very happy to report there are no injuries. The Wildcats starting fresh in defense of their national championship tonight in the exhibition against Northwood. Back to you.
By the way, Dave, I wanted to say this is Tom's first trip to Rupp Arena.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You know, those trips to Rupp Arena are something else. You see that man in a very Palm Beach looking shirt. That is the legendary Rollie Massimio, who is making his first trip to Rupp Arena since his Villanova club won the national championship back here in 1985. Larry, I believe it was the last time that a Final Four was held in a building other than a dome.
That is correct, and if you'll recall, and I'm going to pull this from memory, I think they had 3 Big East teams in the Final Four that year. St. John's was the other one with Georgetown.
And Memphis was
the other. That's exactly right.
Four. And there is the former coach of the Memphis Tigers, who's now in his 4th season as Kentucky head coach, John Calipari. What a job he has done, not only revitalizing the excitement in this program, but the talent level has gone up incredibly. And I can tell you firsthand, the excitement never any bigger than when it tips off.
Let me very quickly tell our audience out there, if you want to keep an eye on somebody from Northwood, keep an eye on Tyrone Davis. And you got to look very closely because he's only 5'2".
First shot of the game, up and in for Rashad James, the senior from White Plains, New York. Northwood coming in off of an exhibition loss, 83-57 at Michigan State night before last. And that there should be a law against that because Poitras was trying to post up Tyrone Davis.
That's, what is that, about 14 or 15 inch difference there?
Poitras at 6'7" and Davis at 5'2", generously.
You know, you ask him about that. I was talking to Rollie about that today. He said he's very proud to be 5'2". He loves to talk about it.
4-year starter on this team. And there's Harrow with that penetration.
Nice floater.
Didn't score a lot in the blue-white scrimmage, and I think that's something that John Calipari wanted to see from his point guard early tonight.
David, a lot of what I've been reading about Harrow is the fact that he is a very quiet young man, and I said this in the opening of the show as we see another basket go down. Nice move right there of Doumbé with a good baseline jump shot.
Masse Doumbé, 6'8" senior. Transfer from Polk State College via Le Mans, France. Poitras again on the glass. And he draws his second foul. And Rollie Massimino already given Mike Thibodeau an earful in front of the Northwood bench.
I asked Rollie at the practice, the shoot around today, I said, how'd you do at Michigan State? He said, well, we played one good half. He said Tom Izzo's got a really good club up there at Michigan State, maybe somewhat underrated.
Massimino is 77 years young. He'll turn 78 on the 13th of this month. And he started this program from scratch.
Terrific guy to sit and visit with. I mean, just one of the real fun guys in this business. I mean, he's been around. You know, he made his name at Villanova, obviously. Went on to Cleveland State, coached there, coached at UNLV.
Isn't it something to see a Philly guy, though, in those pastels?
Oh, yeah.
He's all Palm Beach now.
You wear that in Philadelphia, you wouldn't get off Main Street.
Goodwin lost the dribble, and that's what John Calipari talked about during shoot-around in practice yesterday.
Nice pass. Nice job breaking it up that time. Noel got his hand in there.
And Davis took his eye off of it. 5 feet 2 inches tall. The only thing I can remotely compare that to for Kentucky fans is they had a guy who played high school basketball here in Lexington named Leroy Bird. They called him Baby Magic. He played here at Kentucky. Leroy is now a jailer at 5'5". But I don't know. You'd have to go back to the Sweet 16 that you played in, Larry, to find a 5'2" guard on this court.
Aren't many around. Ryan Harrow with another nice floater, a little teardrop right down the lane. That's 2 good moves he's made with that, just that floating jump shot.
Harrow with both Kentucky baskets. Kick out, 3-pointer. Cherno Ashne couldn't get it to go.
You'll see this club take a lot of threes. They led the nation in 3-point shooting last year in the NAIA Division II level. Except that when they got to the championship game, they were 1 for 19.
One of those nights. And an offensive foul. Illegal screen whistled against Masse Doumbé. That's his first, the team's third. Interesting to hear Rollie Massimino talk about that shooting night in a championship game, because if you remember back to 1985, most folks thought that Kentucky was going to get back to this Final Four on their home court. Did not. Had a bad shooting night in what turned out, if I'm correct, Joe Hall's last game as UK coach. Noel whistled for that foul. And the big fella has been quiet in the first 2 minutes and 44 seconds of this one.
You know, Dave, you and I are going to have a chance to do several games here in November, December involving these Kentucky Wildcats. And the guy that I'm looking at tonight, Kyle Wilcher, I want to see how much his game has improved from last year. He didn't get a lot of playing time last season. But this is a guy that they're going to have to depend on. He's going to have to be able to score, rebound, defend, and do all those things that the freshmen are being asked to do. He's a sophomore. I know it says a lot that he's the leader, but he's got to step in and do something like that.
Doumbé picks up his second foul.
I'll tell you one thing, he's filled out a little bit from last year. He's added some weight. Some of that weight you took off, and you just put it onto him.
He needed it more than I did. I don't know whether Rollie Massimino has told his team, but John Calipari said in his media gathering yesterday that he'd already called Massimino, and there was going to be nobody fouling out, that he needed his guys to stay on the court and get the work.
That was a poor pass by Harrow. Good block. Boy, that was a good play. Archie Goodwin getting in from behind.
Wow. Harrow made a great move, got a little out of control as he tried to finish, But that's the one thing that this team will do, Larry. They'll make some mistakes, they'll hustle back, and they can challenge at the rim.
Go back and take a look again at Archie Goodwin hustling down there. Number 10 coming from behind. Slapping it up against the glass. Noel keeping it alive and getting it in the hands of Ryan Harrow.
Cherno Ashni whistled for the foul. That's his second. 6'8" senior from Hamburg, Germany. Harrow hits the free throw.
This Northwood team is kind of a united nation. They got guys from everywhere. Antigua, Germany, Sweden, Ukraine.
There you see Julius Mays, number 34, 6'2", 192-pound senior from Marion, Indiana. He is a transfer from Wright State. He had transferred to Wright State earlier from North Carolina State. He's now a graduate student, Larry, and he was allowed to play because they didn't have a course for his major at Wright State. That's why he was able to come here and play immediately. In its last 5 possessions, Northwood has turned it over 3 times. They get an extra possession here on the offensive board. Ashni can't hit. And it goes out of bounds off the hands of Nerlens Noel. So Kentucky with the early lead. Northwood hanging in. The Cats and the Seahawks. Third-ranked Kentucky with an 8-4 first-half lead over Northwood in the Wildcats exhibition opener. Dave Baker, Larry Conley, Tom Wormy here at Rupp. And Larry, the one thing about John Calipari, he's not a guy that says you've got to come in and play this way. He takes a look at the guys he gets and says, what's the best way for us to play?
Well, I got to tell you, Archie Goodwin's going to be one of those guys he's going to have a lot of fun with. The freshman out of Little Rock, Arkansas, is a complete player. Lots of improved skills. He just got better and better in high school. I was reading a couple of articles. His high school coach talked about this young man giving up some of his scoring his senior year so they could make the other players around him better. I'll tell you what, that's the kind of guy you like to have, who's got tremendous skills and has that team attitude.
32 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists in 40 minutes in the blue-white scrimmage, which was held just a week ago. And on the turnover, it'll be Wildcat basketball, and there is in a previous life, wide receiver Willie Cauley-Stein from Olathe, Kansas. I think people are going to be really impressed, Larry, at just how fluid this big man is out on the court.
Not a good pass that time. Goodwin threw the ball behind Stein. Well, Julius Mays doing a good job defensively that time on Tyrone Davis.
John Calipari normally does not like to play in his zone, and he certainly doesn't now because he wants to see what these guys can do on tape and let them see the tape. So when he's telling them how they need to improve defensively, he can reinforce it with that visual.
Dave, I think oftentimes, at least in today's world, we see so many high school teams playing zone defense. You find very few of them going man-to-man. And it's a difficult transition to pick up that man-to-man defense once you've been used to that zone your whole career.
Nice lead by Mays, and a good play to adjust in midair by Goodwin, who looked like he thought Cauley-Stein might be coming in for the slam. He got caught in midair and was able to get home the floater. Kentucky in the middle of an 8-0 run. O'Keefe thought about it.
Nice job closing out that time outside by Cauley-Stein.
Boy, and what a nice shot by Tyrone Davis. And here's a steal and a finish by Tracy Parks. And John Calipari taking a timeout. And watch the instruction here with the young guys.
You know, Dave, one of the things we always talk about as broadcasters, you and I have done this a few times,
A few years.
I always talk about players improving, you know, from game to game, from week to week, month to month. I feel the same way about coaches. You know, coaches have that ability that once they learn something, they want to learn more. Have you ever met a coach that wasn't willing to sit down and listen to another coach who had an idea about doing something new offensively or defensively? I think oftentimes we talk so much about players wanting to make themselves better. I think coaches do the same thing, particularly at the high level.
I'll give you a great example of that. We were doing a show for the SEC Digital Network down at the spring meetings in Destin. Last half hour of the show, I was hosting it. I had Mike Slide, John Calipari, and Nick Saban. And when Cal and Nick were crossing on the stage, Calipari stopped Saban and got him to commit to giving him 30 minutes while he was down there because he wanted to talk to him about how he handled his team the year coming off a national championship.
Interesting. They're always looking to learn. So one thing that I've noticed about the coaches at the Division I level, at the highest level. And that's really true, I think, all the way down through every division.
And I think even though they won a national championship last year, there's no question that Calipari's Kentucky team got better from the start of the season to that championship game in New Orleans.
Well, the one thing I've always said about coaches, you got to remember they're teachers. And this guy really gets into it. You can have a macro view or a micro view. I think John is both. He sees the big picture about as well as anybody, but he gets in there and gets his fingers dirty. I mean, he's right in the middle of teaching everything in practice. Offensive foul down inside.
Poitras gets called for the hook as he was trying to get position. It's his first. And Northwood with the basketball now and a chance to take the lead. We've gone under the 14-minute mark here in the first half of the exhibition opener at Rupp. Harrow goes to the floor and got the steal, and look at Cauley Stein.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
That's a 7-foot guy handling the ball like a guard and throwing a lob pass to somebody else underneath.
That was the wide receiver delivering the ball like a quarterback.
Threw it to Alex Poitras, who couldn't quite control it.
Three-pointer at the key, rattles out by Doumbé. And Cauley Stein at the other end with a rebound. Wiltshire couldn't get it to go.
Good block out by Dan O'Keefe that time with Northwood. He got Cauley Stein caught underneath.
And that's an example of what John Calipari has been talking about in practice. You had Wiltshire miss the three-pointer, and then he doesn't get back on defense. Poitras called for the charge. And the Seahawks have the basketball and the lead. It's a 7-0 Northwood run here at Rupp Arena.
Watch it again. Good call. He just simply flat ran over him.
Second foul against Poitras. Noel back into the Kentucky lineup. Goodwin's in there along with Ryan Harrow, Willie Cauley Stein, Julius Mays. And the Twin Tower look for the first time. Mays on the drive. And a nice tap by Willie Cauley Stein.
Harrell with the job of trying to guard Tyrone Davis out front. You know, when you're that far out, you're at the midcourt line, you're always looking for screens coming from behind you.
Not much of a task out front when you got those two guys in the back.
No, that's right. You want to go to the basket? Be my guest.
Nice drive by Goodwin. So under control, and yet he had the strength to get it up and in.
You see that a lot from him this year.
I think you will.
He's a slasher type player.
Three-pointer. Parks couldn't get it to go, and this time it's Noel with a rebound. Bad pass by Mays. Oh, how about the conversion by Rashad James, the Iona transfer?
Rollie told me today, he says, I got a really good one from Iona. This guy can play. Well, if that was any indication, I would agree.
And another not so crisp pass. Cal's going to have a lot of tape to cut up. Harrow lost it. And on the alternate possession, the Wildcats will keep the basketball. But unfortunately for those who made the miscues, they now head to the bench for a chat with John Calipari. Rashad James with a finish. We got a good one in Rupp.
I'm working with Joe B. Hall. Coach Hall is trying to counsel me on how to play the Twin Towers. He had Roby and Phillips, and then he comes back with Bowie and Turpin, and now we've got I'm working with Joe B. Hall. Coach Hall is trying to counsel me on how to play the Twin Towers. He had Roby and Phillips, and then he comes back with Bowie and Turpin, and now we've got Willie Cauley-Stein and Nerlens Noel, two at 7', 6'11", pretty big.
And there you see Joe B. Hall, who later this month will be inducted into the College Basketball Hall of Fame. And that's not just some Cal soundbite. He's really forged a close relationship with Joe B. He and his buddy Joe Gentry there, or that's his driver, his caddy. They're at practice a lot. And, you know, Cal really picks Joe's brain.
Well, and why not? I mean, he won one national championship with the Twin Towers, with Roby and Phillips in there. You know, came close a couple of other times.
May have done it with Bowie and Turpin if Sam had not had the unfortunate injuries.
Yeah.
So Cauley-Stein now on the Kentucky bench. So it's Poitras, Harrow, Goodwin, Mays, and Nerlens Noel. And Goodwin creates the contact and a scoring opportunity at the free throw line as he's fouled by Cherno Ashney.
Dave, we've played a little bit over 9 minutes so far in this game, and Kentucky is shooting 50%. The problem is they've turned it over 10 times. It does not bode well, and I'm sure Coach Calipari will have something stinging to say in the locker room at halftime. Not taking very good care of the ball. But I expect that. You know, in an exhibition game when you're in the 1st of November, offenses are always behind defenses. Offense is more timing. I think the defenses at this point in the season, they're always ahead of the offense.
The other thing, too, is that the one thing that happens, Larry, is you hear people talk about adjusting to the speed of the game. And a lot of folks think that's coach speak. Back when you played, they had the freshman team. You were able to adjust to that speed of the game for a whole year. You know, you got Nerlens Noel. He was finishing things up academically. He didn't get on campus till August.
Right. I totally agree with that. Nice move there. Good block. Oh, that was a good block down the inside. How about Archie Goodwin?
Yeah, it was Goodwin that came from the backside and got it. And at the other end, Poitras is fouled as he tried to spin to the basket.
Boy, it's a nice maneuver down inside by Dan O'Keefe again. Nice looking player. Couldn't get by Archie Goodwin. You know, as much as we've talked about the blocking ability of the two big guys, I think they've got a couple other guys that can swat a few out of there. Kentucky led the nation in blocked shots last season, and you know that's a mantle you want to pick up. That's one thing. You know, we talk about wins, and that's exactly what you want to do. That's what you shoot for. But you know, for clubs that lead the nation in blocked shots, I think that's a real accomplishment.
Poitras, the Tennessee Mr. Basketball, hits the first. I will say though, Larry, the lion's share of those blocks last year were the result of the play of one Anthony Davis, and Calipari was saying yesterday at his media opportunity, he believes he's got at least 4 or 5 guys that can play consistently at the top of the square.
Well, when you got one guy blocking 186 shots, Davis had more blocked shots than 6 SEC teams last year.
Northwood with a basketball. That's Mike Newton, 5'10" freshman from Bedford Heights. Lakewood St. Edward up around Cleveland.
I think he might have walked down here. O'Keefe took a stroll down there on the baseline.
Ashney can't get it to go. And nice box out underneath by Julius Mays. Nice catch by Noel.
Good pass by Poitras. Cut across that lane that time, looked down inside and found a friendly face with a good pair of hands.
Everybody talked about Nerlens Noel's defensive ability when he came in here. He's getting better every day on the offensive end.
One of the things that Coach Cal has been working a lot with these guys since they started practice, official practice, is working on the defensive end. Yeah, I thought his club was so good defensively last year. I mean, it wasn't just the block shots. I just thought they were fundamentally good on the defensive end.
They were not only good, but they enjoyed playing defense. It wasn't a thing where he had to get on them to play defense. They understood early on that they could create offense with their defense. And you can create offense when you go to the offensive glass like that. Rollie Massimino takes a timeout as Nerlens Noel comes up with a big finish. Kentucky's largest lead is now at 8.
Let's go back and take a look earlier at Kentucky and the way they handle the basketball. You can see right there, Harrell with it going down inside. The good pass by Poitras. Good catch, good finish down in there by Noel. This last time, and again, the ball up on the glass. You know what? That's a good play. I mean, even if you missed a shot, you know you've got Noel or you've got Cauley-Stein somewhere around there to get the offensive rebound.
He hasn't done as much of it this year, but that is the basis of John Calipari's signature offense, the dribble drive. What he says is if you get in there, put it up on the glass. Don't try to kick it out and turn it over. Put it up on the glass. We got a better chance of getting it than we do if you try to do something else.
And don't try to make a tough pass. Right. I mean, the hardest pass to make is when you've got 5 or 6 players all converged underneath that basket. There just isn't any open space. And sometimes you got to throw the ball all the way out. Well, why not just put it on the glass and let your big guys go grab it?
Northwood trying to get something going out around the perimeter.
No, that's not right.
Boy, and Davis saw Cauley-Stein coming even though he had him beaten by a step, and that's why he kicked it out. What a great shot that was there. And look at Cauley-Stein. I mean, his footwork is really good.
He didn't take the fake. Did you notice how he kept his feet?
I've been very impressed with this big guy since he's been here.
Rashad James gave him 2 ball fakes, and he didn't bite on either one of them.
Another three-pointer won't fall, and there's Poitras with another rebound. You could probably hear John Calipari yelling from the bench for Archie Goodwin to go get the ball. As Mays couldn't get it to go, and much to Coach Cal's chagrin, the 5'2" guy gets the rebound.
Dave, that's a shot Mays has to make. I mean, if he's going to get that open and get a shot off from about 12 to 15 feet, they've got to expect him to make that. He's got to be expected to make it, and he knows that. Good move.
Archie Goodwin is very good at seeing the opening, at not only seeing it, but knowing when the right time to hit the gas and how to go ahead and vary his speeds a little bit. He is an impressive scorer.
Good switch by Mays that time. A good pickup by Poitras.
Long three-pointer, and that was Masse Doumbé who pulled up and ends a long drought for Northwood. Kentucky had extended its lead to the largest of the night at 10. Cauley-Stein with a bucket and a foul. And he'll have a chance to answer 3 for 3. It's the Cats bigs trying to get it going. Goodwin on the drive. And Kentucky with the early lead. Kentucky with the early 25-16 lead here at the first half in Lexington. You know, Wildcat fans, they love these players. And with more on that, here's Tom Wormy.
Thanks, Dave. It's very easy to notice the basketball skills of Nerlens Noel. But the other thing you notice when you look at him is that high-rise haircut. We talked to him a couple of days ago about that haircut that's been so familiar around campus here. And the inspiration is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will Smith is the inspiration there. Nerlens Noel with the high-rise haircut. And Ryan Harrow said, if you're going to do it, I'll do it too. The nickname that comes to mind, though, Dave, right away is the Fresh Prince of Lexington. We'll see if it catches on.
Wow. I wonder what it is about these fans and hair. Last year it was a unibrow. Now it's the high top fade. Thank you, Tom. James comes out of the timeout and gets the jumper from the baseline.
It's important in today's world, Dave. You got to label everything.
Yeah. I think they'll be talking about a lot more than his hair by the time Nerlens Noel finishes playing here, whenever that may be.
Northwood's gone to his zone defense right now.
Wilcher on the post up. And it was Davis that came in and knocked it away. And I can promise you that Kentucky has not played one possession against his own defense. There you see Wilcher checking out. The two bigs in there together again. Noel with Willie Cauley-Stein, Poitras, Archie Goodwin, and Julius Mays.
Well, it was only that one trip with that zone, and now they're back into their man-to-man.
Goodwin again on the drive.
Well, Noel has nice timing on his jumps. I've noticed in his offensive rebounding, he's very close to the basket. He's got good hands, good fingertips. Look at that rebound. Ripping it away.
Good anticipation. And that one just a little too tall for Cauley-Stein at the other end.
Kind of fun watching them with these two big guys in there playing at the same time. Always got to keep one of them close to the basket, though.
And if they are going to play these two bigs together, there's going to be a situation like there is right now where they're going to be playing against guys much smaller than they are. They're going to be drawn away from the basket.
If that's the kind of shot that goes up against them, it'll be all right.
Ball did not hit the rim. Shot clock violation. Turnover against Northwood. It's their 7th. Mays goes out. See the transfer from Wright State.
You know, Dave, intermittently, I had a chance to watch Kentucky play a lot last year, live just twice. But I will tell you that, and I wanted to ask you this question because you're around the program a great deal here. Was there a point in the season where you looked at this team and said, this club is really, really good? Was there a stretch in there in December or January, or was it even before that?
I think, you know, right after the Kansas game, you know, the way they played there, as Goodwin gets to put back, I think from that point on, and I will say, Larry, we talked in the open about the fact that the talent from this year's team and last year's team are entirely different. But one thing about it is they're incredibly attentive. They both have really high basketball IQs, and Cal doesn't have to repeat a lot of things in practice. Look at Davis throwing one up over Noel. But I think they have got that same want to learn. They know what he's done for other guys in terms of taking them to the next level. And from that standpoint, I think they're really focused.
Well, it'll be interesting to me because I'm going to keep an eye on this club, because at some point you can look at the team and say, this is a team that's going to run for the national championship. And I always think there's like a week or a 2-week period in there where you can pick that up and really talk about it.
Davis goes up and over Noel. Poitras gets the Cats' first 3. And Kentucky with a 12-point lead over Northwood. Tom Wormy, our producer is Brian Woodrum, and our director is the legendary Uncle Roy Alfers here at Rupp Arena for the exhibition opener. Tom Wormy, there's been an awful lot of talk. We've been talking about the bigs tonight, but boy, what a run John Calipari's had with guards.
It's amazing the guard play that he has gotten his last year in Memphis and then the first 3 years here at Kentucky. That's why we're keeping a special eye on Ryan Harrow and Archie Goodwin to see if those guys can potentially fill the shoes. But when you look at the guys that Coach Calipari has had that have played such an important role as far as the guard play is concerned, it's amazing. The problem is these guys play so well, they move on to the NBA, but he has had such great guard play, and especially last season when they went all the way to that national championship and consecutive Final Fours.
Three-pointer won't fall, and there's one of the guards, Goodwin, with the rebound. And he has it tapped away from behind, part of the learning curve. Harrow with a finish.
This is a nice move. Made a little duck under move that time, avoided the shot, did not get it blocked, and get it up on the glass.
Harrow now with 8 points, 3 out of 5 from the field. He's hit both of his free throws. And the answer by Kevin McDuffie. McDuffie, a 6'3" freshman from Clarksville, Maryland.
His dad played in the NBA, played with the Bucks.
His dad was also a big contributor early in Rollie Massimino's career. He played for Jim Calhoun's Northeastern team to pull that big upset of Villanova. Rollie Massimino's always had that family affair thing going on. Gary McLean and Ed Pinckney both had sons that played for him.
I told him, I said, once you just recruit your former players' sons, that's all you need. Boy, he had some great teams. Whew. Really good teams.
That's on the break. Here's Goodwin.
I think it's his second three.
And that's exactly the way John Calipari wants to push the pace. They've got so much firepower underneath that opponents have to go down and double down, and that's going to leave somebody open on the perimeter. Doumbé steps back. Nice screen by Cauley Stein. That may be the first jump shot I've actually seen him take since the entire time he's been in Lexington. Practice game, anything. But that's a shot he's going to get. Davis got it to go and drew the contact.
He's unbelievable, isn't he? I mean, he has no fear in going in among those taller players. And again, I will mention this. He is only 5'2". A strapping 134. Look at this move. Back out, back inside, goes right by Noel, gets it inside, and goes right up over Archie Goodwin.
Davis had 19 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals in the championship game last year, where they lost to Oregon Tech, I believe it was.
That is exactly right.
The Hustling Owls of Oregon Tech.
Yeah, that's one of those plays right there. I was watching Noel trying to make the catch of that pass, reaching back with one hand. He used both hands right there. He had a layup if he would have caught it. This guy's got a lot of potential. Boy, is he good. It's going to be fun to watch the development of these two big men down inside.
I want to mention while we have a chance that I think some of Rollie Massimino's family got in here, but his son actually played for him on that '85 Villanova team. He was going to try to get back up here for the game. First time they'd been back, but his family all in the Philadelphia area. And like so many folks up there on the East Coast, impacted by that superstorm, and our thoughts and prayers with not only those folks, but all the folks involved in the disaster relief, and everybody's pulling for you. Goodwin.
You know what? That play's going to be there in January.
Yes.
It's going to be there in January. It's not there right now. The timing just wasn't right. But once they get to know each other, that little lob pass is going to be there every night.
The 11th turnover in the first half committed by the Cats. As we're into the final minute of play here in the opening half of the exhibition season. Nice ball fake. And a jumper wouldn't go for Rashad James. So Kentucky now, and this is one of those teaching moments. John Calipari calls for one shot. About a 3-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Find out at a time like this who wants to take the shot at money time, Larry. Mays will. Northwood tried to answer back but couldn't, and Kentucky with its largest lead, 40-25 at the half. You see Archie Goodwin with 14 to lead the way, just as he did in the blue-white game. Cats with a 15-point bulge here at the break as they head to the locker room. But before we do that, let's check in with Tom Wormy and John Calipari.
Well, Coach, give us your assessment of this first half as the young guys get a taste of some real action.
Well, a lot of turnovers, a lot of breakdowns, both defensively and offensively, but it's what you expect. But I'm on them at a high level because I'm letting them know it's not acceptable. I don't care how old you are. We stopped. Ryan stopped on plays. You're out. Kyle Wilshire didn't come up with balls. You're out. There are things here that are not acceptable and those kind of things. I thought the two bigs together looked good.
Specifically Archie Goodwin. Tell me about his play in the first half.
A little bit, he walked out of a timeout, didn't listen, had a turnover, and then followed up with another turnover. But I like how he's attacking the rim. So that's good.
Coach, thanks so much for your time. First half in the books against Northwood, and it is Kentucky with the 40-25 lead against the visiting team from Northwood of Florida. We're coming back with halftime. Dave and Larry to take you through halftime from Rupp Arena. We're coming right back.
Led the nation in three-point. Led the nation in three-point shooting last year.
It's the biggest lead of the night for the third-ranked Kentucky Wildcats is they're in the locker room with a 15-point lead over Northwood of Florida in their exhibition opener. Dave Baker alongside Larry Conley back at Rupp Arena. Larry, as fired up as John Calipari was when he talked to Tom Wormy, can you imagine what the halftime speech is like?
The paint is coming off the walls right now in strips, just like this. But you know what? As he said, you expect that. And you're going to make mistakes. You're going to turn the ball over. You're going to take some bad shots. But he will not allow players not to play hard. They've got to go out there 100%, and I think he got a couple of guys out of there simply because they weren't doing what he wanted to do from an effort standpoint.
And the one thing he's got is he's got enough talent on this team and got enough depth where he can use that bench as a motivator.
Well, he didn't have the depth last year.
Right.
I mean, I didn't feel like he did anyway, but this year he can go 8 deep, and I think they're pretty well going down to that 6th, 7th, and 8th guy.
One of those guys that's going to provide that depth this year is Archie Goodwin, a young guy that maybe didn't have all the press that some of the other newcomers had, but boy, he is awfully solid.
Take a look at the freshman from Little Rock right here handling the basketball. He can handle it with his left hand or right hand. Very quick to the basket, and defensively, oh yeah, he can get up there and reject with the best of them. Again, a nice move down the lane. I talked about him being a slasher type player, and I think that's what he's going to be, is a guy who's going to put it on the deck and get to the rim. And if you're going to play him defensively, you've got to give him some room, because he will put it on the deck and go.
One thing he can do, Larry, is he can really finish, and he's going to have the opportunity to do that a lot because people are going to have to put so much attention on those bigs, it's going to open up lanes.
Oh, yeah, I think he and Poythers are going to just really flourish in this offense simply because of those two big guys. And it's going to force the defense of the teams they're going to play to come out and play them a little bit, which helps those two big guys inside. It'll open it up some.
Northwood from the NAI Division II, what a back-to-back trip they've had. Michigan State and now Kentucky. The Seahawks trail the Wildcats by 15. It's the exhibition opener for this talented Kentucky basketball team. The Wildcats on top of the break, 40-25. (40-25). Cats on top of Northwood. You'd never see Nerlens Noel do that to his hair.
That's just not good. You got to find somebody better than that.
Got to be comfortable in your own skin to do that. 40-25 at the break. Larry Conley back alongside. John Calipari said he was going to tinker with this lineup. I believe it was about 8 different lineup combinations that he used in the first half, but they all included Nerlens Noel.
Yeah, and he's not going to be out of the lineup for very long because this guy plays so very well. He pulled down 7 rebounds in that first half, but I was most impressed with the way he caught the ball right there. Good hands. He only attempted 3 shots in that first half. I'm not sure they really need him right now to develop his offensive game to be something really big later on. I think they're going to have to get something from him offensively, maybe 12 to 15 a game. But let's take a look at the first half stats, Dave.
What jumps off the page at you there, Larry? You see the points in the paint and the second chance points, obviously, for Kentucky against a much bigger Northwood
Well, I think
team.
the thing that really jumped off at me is the turnovers. They have 11 right now, and if you'll remember, I talked about the fact that they had 10 after a little over 9 minutes of play. That means they only committed 1 turnover in that last 11 minutes of play. That's taking care of the ball.
If you're a coach, you think about what you want to do in the second half of a game like this with John Calipari. I would think it all revolves around effort.
Well, I think it would too, but I also want to see some of the other players, some guys that maybe are going to average maybe 6 to 8 minutes for him during the year. I believe he's going to start to play some of those guys. He's seen what he's going to get out of the players he's had here in the first half. How about some new faces in the second half to find out what they're going to do?
We talked about block shots. Kentucky with 3 in the first half. 2 of those came from Archie Goodwin. We're coming back and getting things going with all the second half action right after this.
Wildcat Basketball on the UK IMG Network is presented by Papa John's Pizza. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. By Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life, find an agent near you at shelterinsurance.com. By Toyota. And by Lexington Clinic.
Big Bertha is what they call that sound system here in Rupp Arena, and a big crowd on hand for the exhibition opener. Cats up by 15 at the break, and just moments ago, Tom Wormy had a chance to catch up with Northwood head coach Rollie Massimio.
Thanks, Dave. Coach Massimino, we jokingly talked before the game. You said if you keep it within 50, you'd be doing something right. Well, you're hanging tough with them, only down by 15 at halftime.
Well, we made some mistakes, but we also played very hard. This is a very good basketball team. That's a Kentucky team. They're big and physical in run and jump.
For you personally, what is it like to be back in this building, reflecting back on '85 and your national championship team from Villanova?
It's a wonderful thing. You know, it's kind of emotional as they had before the game, but that was very nice to John, and I'm appreciative. And to play before all these fans, it's great for my basketball players.
And lastly, Coach, these games against these big-time programs, how important are they for your program?
Very important, because then we can tell what we have to do to get us as ready for our league and the rest of the NAIA teams who play.
Coach, thanks for your time. Best of luck. Okay.
Rollie's got a fish tie, doesn't he?
Yeah, doesn't he?
Wow.
Doesn't he? That's all Palm Beach. Thanks, Tom. My researcher extraordinaire, Chris Martinez, tells me that it was Massimino's AD at Stony Brook who started this program, at Northwood. Wanted Rollie to help him in the process. He then ends up talking Rollie into taking the job as head coach. And Rollie told us this morning that the first year they started, they practiced at a Jewish community center or on the outdoor courts.
Tennis courts. They were tennis courts. Oh, what a great guy.
Loves the game, and that's why he's still doing it. Just a couple of weeks shy of his 78th birthday.
Some great stories. He's a great storyteller.
No question. So Kentucky starts out with Harrow, Goodwin, Poitras, Wiltshire, and Noel. Doumbé with a basketball in there with Davis, O'Keefe, Ashney, and James for Northwood. Shot clock down to 5. Doumbé just ahead of the buzzer. Nice catch and an even better finish by Noel as he got behind the defense.
Good presence of mind to know that he could have possibly gotten it taken away from him on one side. He floated to the other side for an easy one. Good pass.
Doumbé up and under, and look at Noel. Hello. That is exactly, that's I believe that's the first time John Calipari has smiled all night, and it's a big one.
How about the recovery? I mean, you're too far out, you make your move, 2 quick steps and a rejection. I picked screen right there. Northwood could not handle it. That is handled. Boy, oh boy, what a terrific move down the inside.
James able to get it going. Here's Wiltshire. Guys has got as pretty a shot as you'd ever want to see. Whistle away from the ball, and it looked like Davis took a shot to the face, and so Jamie Lucky, one of our officials, stops play. There you see Davis across the way on the Northwood bench. Looked like he might have taken a finger in the eye, or you see the training staff taking a look.
You can always tell which eye it is. It's the one closed.
Mike Newton, 5'10" freshman from up around Cleveland, into the basketball game to replace Davis. Noel challenged one, challenged another. Wiltshire couldn't hold on to the rebound. It goes off a Northwood hand, and Kentucky gets the basketball back. Willie Cauley-Stein checking in for Kyle Wiltshire, who is hearing from John Calipari before he even gets in a zip code to the bench.
Good call, Mike Newton with a push that time on Harrow, who was trying to make his way to the basket.
Not mentioned our officials tonight. Jamie Lucky called in that Final Four. I believe he had the championship game last year, working with Steve Anderson and Mike Thibodeau. Harrow short on the first free throw as Newton commits his first foul.
Kentucky did not shoot free throws well in that first half, only 5 of 9.
And that's one of the things that John Calipari likes his teams to do, is to create contact and get a lot of opportunities at the free throw line. So he has to have guys in his lineup that shoot it well from the stripe.
Kentucky with a little bit more pressure on defense here in the second half. Charging after the basketball a lot more and covering up those passing angles. Well, they're recovering really well.
Ashney travels, turns it over.
Dave, one of the things you got to be aware of, even when your teammate gets beat, you've got to be able to recover and help. I've heard a lot of coaches refer to it as help and recover, help and recover. Kentucky's done that pretty well here so far in the second half.
Cats led by 15 at the break. They've stretched it to 19, and Poitras with a chance to make it grow even more.
Noel with a little slap in the back of the head there, saying, all right, good move. Watch it again. You'll see right here the drop down. Once he catches it there, he's pretty much impossible to stop. You're either going to foul him or you're going to let him have the basket.
That was an example, Larry, of what the bigs can do in terms of drawing the defense away. It started off with Cauley Stein passing from the wing to Noel, who dumped it down inside. It's the third time tonight that we've seen the new Twin Towers in there together. There's Noel with a block, and Stein picks up the loose ball.
Hard to block a shot when you're 18 feet out from the basket, but Noel did.
Fifth block of the night by the Cats. Noel thought he got shoved in the back.
He probably did, but they're not going to call it.
At the other end, Newton converts. And the Kentucky lead back under 20. Well, I think you're going to see opposing teams right now, Larry, take a look at this tape, and I think you're going to see him really try to body up Ryan Harrow early on.
And I would totally agree with that. I was watching Mike Newton right there, who came in as a substitute for Tyrone Davis, and Newton would not let him loose. Had him right in front of him and just absolutely manhandled him. Harrow's got to do a better job of getting to the basket, getting around that kind of defensive pressure.
Newton in for Tyrone Davis, the outstanding 5'2" guard for Northwood, who went out after getting hit in the eye, and he's over on the Northwood bench with an ice pack on his right eye. So he looks like he's on the bench for a while. That basket by Cauley Stein won't count. Foul underneath. And there you see Tyrone Davis, the 4-year starter. O'Keefe whistled for the foul, his second, fourth against the Seahawks from the Sun Conference. A lot of folks around here know Georgetown College from NAIA Division I. Northwood is in NAIA Division II. As Poitras hits, the difference in NAIA Division I, you get 10 scholarships. In the second division, you get 6 total scholarships to divide up however you want. And that means Rollie Massimino has to act as an NBA general manager, keep everybody under the cap. His Seahawks down by 20.
UK Athletics is still
20-point lead for the Wildcats in their exhibition openers. The nation's third-ranked team takes on Northwood. Larry Conley, we've heard a lot in this preseason about Kentucky's 2 highly decorated bigs, and they have not disappointed tonight.
No, both of these guys have performed at least, I think, probably passable for John Calipari, at least to this point. You can see right here, Noel with 6 points, 7 rebounds. Poitras with 9 points and 7 rebounds. And of course, Cauley Stein has had some limited playing time so far.
Out of the timeout, Northwood gets an offensive rebound as Cherno Ashney gets the follow.
Archie Goodwin continues to score. He's running the point guard position right now.
And yesterday at practice, Cal said he wanted him to play some point because it was going to be on the big stage. It was going to be against a point guard who was going to be a lot smaller and who was going to harass him. And he wants to see how this freshman reacts in case he has to play him at that position.
That's what these exhibition games are all about, experimentation.
Boy, what a nice move there by Massey Doumbé. Hayes.
Wilter trying to assume post position down in there, has to move back out to the elbow, and now he gets the ball.
Not a lot of continuity right now for Kentucky offensively. And how about the hustle back by Archie Goodwin as he gets another block? Julius Mays, the guard, goes crashing into Prentice Walker, our camera guy down there, as he got another block.
Much to the appreciation of this crowd.
7 blocks by Kentucky on the night.
Watch
Here.
Archie Goodwin right here. That's a terrific one. He gets it and it gets over the head of Dan O'Keefe. And then Mays follows it up with another block.
Number 6 and 7, Goodwin has got 3 of the 7 Kentucky blocks. Translation, no free ones against this Wildcat team this year. Here's Davis back in after getting poked in the eye. Cauley Stein with a steal. Harrow in there now, and he's fouled.
That was not a good pass. Cauley Stein tried to get it out there. Harrow on a dead run to the other end. You got a player like Tyrone Davis floating around out there. You don't want to do that.
Second foul against Davis. So now Kentucky with Harrow back in there running the point. Goodwin, Cauley Stein, Wiltshire, and Mays, and a pretty move by Ryan Harrow.
I tell you, Harrow's pretty good at putting the ball down on the deck and getting down that lane.
Doumbé on the baseline goes up and under Cauley Stein.
Boy, I like the way this guy plays, huh?
Now Cauley Stein will go to the bench after giving up the baseline. John Calipari kind of gets that look on his face. Okay, fine. Going to the okay. Just immediately sends a guy to the table. That's the look right there.
One thing about John, you can almost be assured that he'll wear his feelings on his sleeve. The expression on his face is pretty self-evident.
Tracy Parks whistled for the foul. I'll tell you what else he's done is, you know, I talked about the Nick Saban analogy a little bit earlier, Larry. The presentation from Cal is much different than Saban, but they both get the big picture, and as comfortable and as good a fit as Nick Saban is for Alabama, I believe John Calipari is even better for Kentucky, because that spotlight, you know, it doesn't burn brightly on him. He embraces everything about being in this fishbowl.
That's what I was talking about earlier when I talked about macro and micro managing, and that's exactly what he does. He sees that big picture, but he knows what it takes to be a successful basketball program. So those small little teachable moments. You've got to correct turnovers, you got to make better shots, you got to set better screens. All of the little parts that go together to make a basketball team.
I think Cauley Stein got the 8th block of the night, and he blocked it at about his chest.
Basket by Parks.
Parks comes right back and gets the bucket off the inbounds. Nice backdoor cut. And
nobody back.
Doumbé behind the defense, and Cal will go looking to the bench if he can determine who didn't get back. Well, with a post up. And Cauley Stein brought it down to his waist.
Dave, I'll tell you what happened right there. And part of it is the strength of Cauley Stein. If he's got a stronger body, he takes that ball and just goes straight to the rim with it. He hasn't gotten his strength yet. I know he's got a good body. I mean, he's 7 feet. He's in at 244. That's what they've got him registered at. But, you know, if you've got a strong set of arms, you just take that ball straight to the rim.
And that's up about 30 pounds from when he got here. So Kentucky now with 13 turnovers on the night, but after 11 in the first half, only 2 here in the first 8 minutes of period number 2. Goodwin again. Boy, he is so good at seeing that opening and either finishing or putting himself at the free throw line.
He has a knack for finding that opening, too. I mean, once he sees it, if he's got a half a step on his defender and no one else is coming after him, he's going to go to that rim. If they do, he's pretty adept at delivering the basketball to open teammates, too.
Not only,
I think John's got a pretty good idea in using him in this point guard position.
Not only sees those gaps, Larry, but I think, you know, we haven't seen enough of him, but I think you got to give him credit as well. Probably pretty good at creating those gaps as he sets it up off the dribble. Saw the 19 points, now 20 and 3 assists, but 3 blocks to go along with that.
Good job by Harrow to close out.
Davis kicks it out. And I think they said he was on the sideline. 20 points has been the margin for much of this second half. It's the Cats up, under 12 to play. Third-ranked Kentucky on top of Northwood, the top-ranked preseason team in NAIA Division II by 20. And Larry, in his exhibition opener, it's been a Wildcat block party.
It has indeed. You get your invitation to it. We can make it available to everybody who's watching tonight. Noel with a good one right there, but the guy that's done the most on blocking shots tonight has been the guy that's running the point guard position on occasion, Archie Goodwin.
So much attention on the Kentucky bigs, but they've got athletic ability all over the court. There you see those block numbers, and there you see Goodwin, the freshman from Little Rock, who's got 3 of those swats. Harrow, Wilcher, Goodwin, Noel, and Mays in there for Kentucky, although Poitras is at the table ready to check in, and that's a pretty follow by Nerlens Noel.
Boy, doesn't he have soft hands? I mean, he gets that big body up there. He's got a wingspan of about 7'4". He still gets up there and those nice soft fingertips. Good high screen set right there, and a good job of handling it that time by Harrow.
James had to kick it back out and turns it over. Goodwin right there at the rim again. They say that Noel batted it away off of Davis. Basketball back to Kentucky. Parks and O'Keefe check back in to the Northwood lineup. Goodwin goes to the Kentucky bench, and there you see Alex Poitras, 6'7" freshman from Clarksville, Tennessee, back in for the Wildcats. Wilcher trying to create. Nice post up by Noel, but again, he brings the ball back down. And that's part of that learning curve, Larry.
Well, they brought it back down. They knocked it off of his leg. You know, oftentimes when you're practicing against your teammates, you don't get that same ferocity that you get from teams that you're playing that have never seen you before.
And they give you a little courtesy.
Look at Noel get up.
Poitras has got 1-3, but he passed that one up. Wilcher.
he's really developing. He had the good shot last year, just didn't get a chance to just put it on display very much. Good job of Harrow again to fight over that screen.
15-point lead at the half. It's now grown to 25. But right there, Masse Doumbé with a tray to answer. Post, but on the pass, Noel and Harrow can't connect.
It's one of those passes where you make a bounce pass, Dave. It's easier for the post guy to catch it. When you make that air pass like that, you're forcing him to move out away from the defense and away from the basket. Just put the ball down on the floor and let him grab it.
Harrow, after throwing a bad pass, now gets called for the hand check. And you know, that's how you find out about different identities of teams, Larry. Last year, I don't know if Kentucky threw a bounce pass last year. Everything was a lob right at the rim.
Well, it makes it easier when you got somebody like Davis around, Jones is around.
Third foul of the night against Harrow.
Good handle of the screen again by Kentucky's two guys over there. Rollie Stein and Harrow.
Doumbé goes to the basket and draws the foul. Wiltshire guilty of his first.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I think I had a pretty good position.
Wiltshire up there looking at the replay too. Did you see him looking up there and rolling his eyes?
Isn't it amazing automatically how the fans within the arenas all look up at the instant replay as soon as it's ready to go? Everybody watches on the floor, then all of a sudden you see 20,000 people look up at the screen.
Rollie Stein thrown to the floor, and they're going to get O'Keefe for the foul on that one.
The foul is on
O'Keefe, a transfer out of Bentley College, Lexington, Massachusetts. I'll tell you what, he's put together pretty well out there. 6'5", 230.
You wouldn't think Rollie would have too much trouble recruiting to Palm Beach.
I wouldn't think so.
Especially for those kids from up in the Northeast.
Kentucky continues to struggle on their free throws.
And Poitras is going to get called for the shove on the rebound. Fourth foul against Poitras, fourth against the Cats this half. Long three from the corner, won't fall in, but there's Rashad James with a tap in, and there has been just enough miscues here in the last 3-4 minutes to cause John Calipari to maybe start doing that infamous spin of his on the sidelines.
How about Rashad James for Northwood? The guy's 6'1", and he was lingering around that rim up there.
So John Calipari talks it over with the officials and with his team. We're coming back with Rupp right after this. Wildcat fans with a lot to cheer about here in the exhibition opener. Number 3 Kentucky on top of Northwood, 65-46. A first-timer in Rupp Arena, Tom Wormy. Tom, it's been something.
It really has, Dave, and the day started earlier with the game day shoot-around, and I observed Coach Calipari, and I love what he did at the beginning of practice. He gathered all the players near midcourt, and he said, guys, he quieted everybody down. He said, guys, forget all the distractions and everything surrounding, everything coming up to the start of this season and how people already have you in the Final Four. Forget about that and all the things that come along with being a Kentucky basketball player and focus on the basics. But he also said a lot, let me walk you through this. So that means he's got a lot of young guys and he's putting a lot on their plate, Dave.
He really is, including guys like Poitras. And Larry, it's the first time you went through it. I mean, you know, you've got to go through how the game day shoot-around schedule goes, how you'll break down an opponent, and that's part of this learning curve as well.
Well, you're going to block out the distractions, and that's very difficult to do here in Kentucky because everybody is looking at you. It feels like you're always on display, whether you're walking across campus or whether you're playing the game.
10 blocks now for the Wildcats. They couldn't convert that time. And that was a nice shot by Tracy Parks, who just got it over the fingertips of Willie Cauley-Stein, who was bidding to make it 11 blocks for the Cats.
Nice. Very nice. It's a little bit awkward, it looked like, the way they finished it up, but Noel got it done.
One thing that's been a consistent has been the defense getting behind Kentucky players in transition. That'll certainly be a point of emphasis before we come back here on Monday night. Kentucky takes on Division III Transylvania as number 3 Noel goes a little high-low, a play that Anthony Davis seemed to repeat over and over again last year. James couldn't get it to go as he had a foot on the line. Goodwin with another crossover. They won't count the basket, but he'll go to the line. How about a little high-low? Freshman to freshman. Cats in control. Just over 7 minutes to play at Rupp Arena. Third-ranked Kentucky on top of Northwood, 71-48. Dave Baker, Larry Conley, Tom Wormy. Brian Woodrum is our producer. Uncle Roy Alfers directing things tonight. There you see Archie Goodwin. He was getting a workover with, I don't know what you call those things. It's one of those very painful roller things that trainer Chris Simmons was running up and down his legs. Playing a lot of minutes, the young guy is. You have to get loose, used to nutrition. Maybe cramping up a little bit.
How would you know that that's painful? Do you know that?
You know, when you get to my relative state of out of shapeness, you sometimes use that, you know, not to run up and down the court, but just to try to get to the car.
Oh. Well, I know your game has suffered a little bit because of that.
Now, see, that's also an economic difference between the two of us, because everyone knows that you have a host of personal assistants and personal trainers that take care of your every whim in suburban Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. He's going over the bench. He's going to put a little bit over there.
I think he's starting to cramp. Now, here he goes. See, Chris Simmons, the trainer, is coming over right now. And he's trying to get Goodwin to sit down, and he's got that very, very painful object in his hand that he's getting ready to start running over him again. Kentucky with its largest lead.
Nice job that time. Boy, that was a good block. Cauley-Stein just blocked it away from the pass.
And you know, they don't try to block it away like volleyball players trying to spike something, as they've added to their block total and now have it in double digits.
Well, Noel again was a good closeout out front.
Harrow got the steal and Davis committed the foul.
See, that was a good defensive work that time by Kentucky. Let's go back and take a look. You'll see right here Archie Goodwin moving around.
There it is, the thing in the left hand. It's like a roller thing. It's like a piece of PVC pipe that's, yeah. And I guess that kind of rolls out the cramps, I guess. Cats in a double bonus. We'll get Wormy on that and figure out what the official name of that thing is.
Okay. Harrow's having a pretty decent game tonight. He's kind of cut down on his turnovers, certainly in the first half, second half versus the first half. And defensively, he's done a pretty good job too.
Kentucky with 7 blocks. They've forced 7 turnovers here in this second half. And that's the reason they have been able to continually build a 15-point halftime lead.
Hard to believe they've got 7 blocks just in the second half.
Newton with a pull-up.
A pretty good little guard off the bench.
Second field goal of the night for Newton. Kentucky once again with the 2 bigs in there. Cauley-Stein, Noel, Mays, Wilcher, and Harrow. Time Cauley-Stein tried to go low with a pass and it was picked off.
Nice. Good hand. Look at the big man. Look at him. I love it. He jumps out there, gets in the passing lane, makes the steal. Doesn't look around to give it to anybody else. He wants to take it and run it to the rim. Look at that. Got right in the passing lane.
John Calipari wanted the intentional foul here. But the thing about it, Larry, is as soon as he steals a ball like that and puts it on the deck, it's not one of those things that you normally, you know, when a big guy gets it, you're going, no, 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 no. I mean, he's really under control and he can handle it in the open court.
That's what I said. He didn't look around for anybody. He says, I got this. Don't worry about it. He just took it right to the rim.
Wayne Peavy, John Hayden, the sports information guys here at UK, say that without question, he's the fastest guy in terms of the 40 on the team. And that's because everybody but Noel has to take about 3 strides for his every one.
That's exactly right.
All batted out of bounds.
Dave, it's very noticeable to me, at least in this second half, that Kentucky's defense is much improved over the first half. They've taken better care of the basketball, and they've really caused problems for Northwood to get into their offense.
Duffy nowhere to go. And then he steps out and knocks it down, and that's what happens when you get lost on defense. Got beat on the defensive end, but then answered with a 3 of his own.
Give Harrow a lot of credit right there. He kept the dribble alive, and as he kept it alive, a couple of defensive guys went by him. They forgot about him, and when they did charge him, he went to Mays, who was left wide open on that wing.
John Calipari now bringing a couple of guys off his bench. I was just looking at the score sheet. He'd only gone 7 deep. And Wilcher able to hang on and put it in.
A little behind the back dribble right there. Nicely done.
Doumbé had that shot blocked by Wilcher. We approach the 4-minute mark in the exhibition opener here at Rupp. Newton. Another offensive rebound for Northwood. How about making it 2 on the same trip?
Good idea, just a poor execution.
Coming down to the final minutes. A little sloppy, but the Cats in control at home. There you see our game summary as Kentucky pulling away in the late going from Northwood. Doumbé with a 17 and Archie Goodwin impressive again. Nerlens Noel a double-double, Larry.
Let's go back and take a look at some good defensive plays by Kentucky in this first half. The Kentucky Farm Bureau defensive plays of the game, and they came from a lot of different guys. They've gotten 11 blocks we've counted so far, and everybody's contributed, particularly Archie Goodwin. He's been terrific. Noel getting that one right there.
And that's our Kentucky Farm Bureau defensive plays of the game. Nerlens Noel in his exhibition debut, the '1 high school player in the country, ringing up a double-double. John Hood, number 4. 6'7" redshirt junior from Madisonville in there now for Kentucky, as is Jared Polson, a walk-on from over in Nicholasville, Kentucky. West Jessamine High School, wearing number 5. There's Polson with a basketball. Mays, Polson, Wiltshire, Noel, and Hood. Nice job by Wiltshire. Did everything but finish. Of course, when you got that guy behind you, like you said earlier, Larry, you just put it up there because you know somebody can go get it.
Well, you just don't want to take, you know, a bad pass in a situation like that. Just makes you look, well, it makes you look bad. I mean, you throw the ball into traffic, and most of the time it doesn't get there. Just put it up on the rim and let the big guys go fight it out.
Box out by Doumbé. John Calipari has never believed in a large rotation. As we mentioned before, Polson and Hood came in. Cal had gone 7 deep on his bench tonight. Doumbé can't connect. Wiltshire turns.
Nicely done by Wiltshire. That was just simply all Wiltshire. He caught the ball down the post, a little spin move. They backed off of him, and he went ahead and took the shot.
Newton followed up his own miss, and it'll be Wildcat basketball, and it'll give us a chance to check out our Lexington Clinic Wildcat player of the game, and it is the freshman Archie Goodwin.
2 games in a row now, the blue-white game and this game here. He has performed extremely well. Not only his ability to score, but the fact that he's got 3 block shots tonight tells you he's playing on both ends.
5 assists, says Noel, scores again.
Olsen with the push of the ball right there. He drops it right in Noel's hands.
Boy, and that's really good recognition and really good discipline on the part of Polson as well. Because when you're a guy that comes in, you don't get a lot of playing time. Natural tendency is to take it to the rim, but instead he drops it off. And you see John Calipari clearing his bench now. Sam Malone, the 5'11" sophomore walk-on from up in Massachusetts, and number 32, Brian Long. Sophomore from Dumont, New Jersey. Checking into the UK lineup. We're under 2 minutes to play. Poitras got a piece of that one, but they're going to get Long for the foul down low. There you see Noel's numbers tonight. Pretty fair.
17 points, 11 rebounds. I'll tell you what, when you take 9 shots and you make 8 of them, not much to complain about there.
Yeah. Check that on foul. They whistled John Hood for it. And checking into the Kentucky lineup. You see number 21. That's Todd Lanner. Quite a story there. Walk on. John Calipari needed some help in practice. Todd had been a junior college player down in Florida, sat out a year, got bigger. Of course, he is the son of former Wildcat Bo Lanner. Had a very similar story in terms of coming on to the UK squad. Hood looking to work against Doumbé. Boy, and you know, there's only about a minute left to play, Larry, but that's a big shot for John Hood. He's worked his tail off to come back from that knee injury, but has not been able to get the jump shot to go down. First time on the court tonight. It's a pretty jumper. Well,
he missed the whole season last year, and now for him to be able to come back, I think he's going to contribute.
I do too.
He was a terrific high school player. He's had injury problems and actually had been pushed down the line in the bench because of the quality of play that they've had here. So many good players, but I think he can contribute this year.
I agree with you. Looked good in practice, still fighting through the pain after that rehab. Now Polson tries to set a play. Sam Malone coming back from a knee injury of his own. Has that one blocked. And that's the first block of the night for Northwood. Tracy Parks checks in, gives Rollie Massimino a chance to give a curtain call to Massey Doumbé, who's played awfully well for this team that will once again compete for the NAI Division II National Championship.
Found out something interesting today about Northwood. You know, they've got 3 campuses. Their main campus is in Midland, Michigan. And they've got another campus in Dallas, Texas. And the third one is down in West Palm Beach.
Nothing against Dallas or Michigan.
Well, what's funny about it, Rollie was telling me this today, that the 2 schools are going to play each other. The one from Midland is going to play the one from West Palm Beach. It's going to be Northwood against Northwood.
I'm betting that's not a guarantee game.
I guarantee it's going to be played in Palm Beach and not Michigan either.
Probably so. John Calipari and Rollie Massimino exchanging congratulations. The Wildcats open the exhibition season. Big night for